Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 has returned to NXT, and we're live! Hello, I am Luke, and this is El Fagador Laurie Blake. Over there is Randy Andy Dadson, who's going to be monitoring your super chats in the flowery shirt that he said he was going to buy on yesterday's show. Whoa, nice shirt,
continuity.
Mate. Continuity. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please give this video a like, leave a comment, give Andy a super chat. He likes chatting to people. We like hearing from you. Podcast listeners might not, but we like hearing from you.
Hope you're not driving.
And leave a regular comment if you're watching this on the replay. Subscribe to the channel, but also there's a little link in the video description that will take you across to Screen Stalker, our sister movie game.
Movie game?
Video game channel, where we're talking about Avengers, MCU stuff. What are we talking about today on Screen Stalker?
Today we're talking about loot box controversy because the UK Gambling Commission has said they are not gambling.
When they are still gambling.
They were like, don't want to deal with that.
Don't want to deal with it. Even though it is gambling, we're just saying it's not. So click that button over there, and that will take you over to Screen Stalker, where that video will go live later on. We're also playing Who's That Pokemon with SoCal Val.
And a bit of Mario Maker too.
Where Pete's very bad at it. But for now, let's chat about Peter Dunne. So, obviously, you saw the spoilers when they happened. I was away when this taping had occurred, so all of this is very, very new to me. It's very, very fresh. So I have absolutely not a blue's clue about what's going on in terms of NXT until I actually get to watch it, which is quite nice because even when I try and stay as spoiler-free as possible, I tend to see a few things here and there. I kind of know where we're heading for the next TakeOver show because we do the WrestleTalk news, and that's bound to just become a part of it. Yeah. So this...
It's weirdly flown under the radar,
was
isn't it?
A bloody lovely surprise for me because I thought we were just heading in the direction of the Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong for the NXT North American Championship at TakeOver Toronto. So I was like, cool, that's the direction we're going. Velveteen Dream comes out, cutting a promo on Roddy. Roddy comes out, cuts a promo on Dream. And I'm like, okay, yep, this is pretty much where I got it. And then all of a sudden, Pete Dunne's music hits. And I like... I sort of like sat up in my seat, and the crowd sort of erupted because they clearly didn't see this coming either.
No.
And Dunne is he's something else.
Yeah. He's so over.
Yeah.
Especially in Full Sail as well, because some of the best stuff he's done has been in NXT, proper NXT.
Yeah. It's pretty nice for him to do something in front of a reaction.
Yeah, I know. Well, yeah, not just
in front of 30 people.
An edited out UK crowd. But it was just like people can see that he's the next big thing.
Yeah.
You get the fact that like I feel like he's a big deal.
He does feel like
in a way
big
that
deal.
He wasn't really presented even in NXT UK. Like, in NXT he feels like a massive deal.
Yeah, almost to the point where you're like, this belt's below him. Like he should be in that sort of main event picture because he is just like he has got superstar aura.
He could have walked out on Adam Cole and people would have gone, that makes perfect sense.
Totally buy it. Absolutely, yeah. And it was such a cool moment. Like he comes out and he doesn't say a word. And the crowd is going bonkers, chanting Bruiserweight. And I love that Roddy's just like pointing at him, kind of like, "No, you! Get out! No, not you!" So he just grabs the finger, does the snap, and Roddy sells it brilliantly, rolls out the ring, and he stands there with his little gun, and he just looks at the North American Championship, and Dream's like, "I don't want any part of this.
I like my fingers, thank you."
Oh, hard pass, I think. And then he steps out of the ring, and later on in the show, we find out that it is going to be a triple threat for the North American Championship of Roderick Strong, Velveteen Dream, and the Bruiserweight Pete Dunne.
Yeah.
That sounds awesome.
It's good booking as well, I think, because it adds a dimension to the Roddy Dream match that wasn't there before, because obviously Strong and Dunne were together
as a tag team
at the moment that Strong did his heel turn.
Oh,
and that was how the Undisputed Era won the tag belts in the first place, right? Was the second time?
Yeah, I can't remember the second time. They re-won them, maybe. I can't quite remember. But either way, it was when Roddy joined.
He handed them the match, basically, to win the belts. And so that adds this like whole element of history to it. One, and also just makes it so that it's not so much a given that it feels like this is all build to Undisputed Era all being draped in gold.
Yeah, totally, yeah. Because you've got the other side of the Undisputed Era, Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly facing Street Profits at the show. Adam Cole's defending his title. So another Undisputed Era focused show we've got coming up for TakeOver Toronto. But you're right, this kind of adds a new wrinkle to it.
Yeah.
However, I feel so sorry for Roddy.
Yeah.
He's been screwed. He binned the champ to earn this title shot. Pete Dunne's done sweet FA, and he's walked in, and Regal's gone like, I think he deserves a title shot too. And Roddy's there going like, how?
Yeah,
and I'm at home going, how?
This is the problem. You can't be heels if you're justified. That's it. It's not heelish to be like, no, I'm genuinely being dicked on here.
Yeah, like, I'm being screwed out of a one-on-one championship match here because you happen to be from the same country as him.
Yeah, exactly. Like, that's it.
He calls it favoritism. I'm like, yeah, this does feel like favoritism.
I was speaking to my best mate, Johnny Sane, who said, why don't you take Pete Dunne for a bit?
Yeah, well, he's a lot of work. Could you mind taking him for a little bit?
Well, we're doing the water thing at the moment, so it's better if you come over here.
Bate's busy, so we'll just have Dunne for a bit. Yeah, so I feel proper sorry for Roderick Strong. Like, there's a backstage segment where he's dragging a cameraman to talk to a Regal, and I was written here, he makes the excellent point that he should be the only one getting a title shot.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I feel like he also is probably the character who's going to get lost in this feud. Like, now it's a three-man thing. Like, Pete Dunne is so over that he can hold a crowd in the palm of his hand without having to say anything and just with a gurm.
Yeah.
And Velveteen Dream is, like, amazing on the mic.
Oh, yeah.
Roddy feels like the weak link in the terms of building this feud verbally.
Yeah, no,
or
I
non-verbally. But, like,
yeah.
He's obviously going to be a standout performer in this match, and I can't wait to see these three tango at Toronto. But
Tango in Toronto.
Tango in Toronto, the lesser-known Fleetwood Mac album. But I
once had a Tango in Toronto. It's a lie, I didn't.
They don't sell it over there. But yeah, I just think Roddy does stand to sort of lose the most by Pete Dunne being entered into this feud, because he was just starting to, like, he's also been like probably the least pushed member of the Undisputed Era as well. He's probably the least popular.
I think that's fair enough. I think that I'd certainly say that's probably not a controversial thought that he's the most unpopular member. I really like Roddy. I love Roddy. I've been in love with him since his ROH TNA days. So I'm a big fan of watching his matches. I really like his style, and I think he's grown leaps and bounds since joining the Undisputed Era as well. Because when he was a babyface, like pure white meat babyface, they were pushing him as. I really liked it because I thought the video packages they were doing for him, where it's talking about his very real life troubles, really were sort of putting him over to a whole new level.
With his heel wife.
Yes, quite. But then this Undisputed Era heel turn, like, really lit a fire underneath him, and he came out with this whole new persona, and I think that's when people start to be like, oh, actually, Roddy can hang. He's got something he can show here.
Well, this is the thing. I don't necessarily think that persona can hang. Like, that persona works really well in the unit of Undisputed Era, because I think they've got that schoolyard gang vibe, where Cole is the talker and the leader, and everyone's like, yeah. Like, and that's what the other Undisputed Era guys bring to the table. But they're all really good at it. Like, Bobby Fish is amazing at shouting things while outside of the ring.
Oh, yeah.
Better than anyone else, I think. But yeah, it feels like this promo, especially before Pete Dunne returned, really felt quite stilted. And, like, you could see the patterns of what they were going for, what they were trying to say, and none of it landed quite the way I wanted it to.
I will say that...
Not to be harsh.
But I don't think you are being harsh, really. And I will say that I do agree with you, actually, that I think that this Strong versus Dream would have been a great match. But the addition of Pete Dunne has made me so much more interested in it than I was when it was a one-on-one match. But at the same time, I think that Roddy's just been screwed. And I just think it's very unfair on him. Like, in the kayfabe world... He did deserve a one-on-one shot, and he's had that taken away from him, and they're supposed to be the baddies.
Yeah, it's a bit of a weird build, I think, to Toronto in general. That it seems actually quite disjointed, because they could have done the build if they were going to do the idea that this prophecy is going to be fulfilled, which is something Adam Cole talks about on this episode of NXT.
Oh yeah.
You could have done a more concerted push by all of the Undisputed Era working together to get themselves all in the position to have title opportunities. Instead, it really feels like they sort of just rolled off the back of that one pin on Dream and were like, yeah, North American title shot. And it could have been a longer part of like feuding with all the relevant people to build to this series of matches that's going to happen, and then that be the story of that night.
Yeah, no, I agree with you on that one. But I thought the pop was great.
It was unbelievable.
And like, to kind of like round this off on a positive, I think Dunne being back in NXT, and they did say he's back for a while. I don't know if that just means he's back for this takeover cycle and then he's going back to NXT UK. I just feel that he's too big of a star to have in NXT UK. You want to have this guy on proper NXT. I don't like to use the word proper. Let's use the word main NXT. So I think he needs to be on this show. He really should be on Raw and SmackDown. Like he is an absolute star. And I feel like having someone as good as Dunne is kind of being squandered on NXT UK because it's a show that was created for very cynical reasons, and they don't really put much effort into.
Yeah, I think you've got to imagine that your Bischoffs and your Heymans of the world have their eye firmly set.
Heyman's got to be.
Heyman has to be.
Got to be, right? Yeah. Absolutely. Right, well, let's go over to Randy Andy Datson, who's been monitoring your super chats.
Yes, I have. And thank you to everyone who's watching, especially as WWE has just announced that they've lost 300,000 subscribers since WrestleMania on the WWE network.
Whoa.
So,
although that's like, I think that's pretty standard, isn't it? Like the post-WrestleMania loss.
Well, it's quarter on quarter, so I think it's still pretty substantial.
It's not good news.
No,
it's also not.
It's just maybe not as bad news.
No. Yeah. Anyway, we shall start.
I'm actually surprised it was so low.
True. We'll start, as we often do, with Tim Arndt, who's given us a lovely donation, so thank you to Tim. Jobber JJ then says, Andy, thanks for replying to my email. I'll send my piece later. Question, if NXT is on TV, will Vince have any say or be in control? And the first bit of that is in reference to him wanting to write for the website. And if you do want to write for the website, drop me an email, andy@wrestletalk.com.
To answer the question of Vince, I got to imagine, because they're doing this to compete against AEW, and if they're going up against the main competition, then surely Vince is going to want some involvement in that.
Yeah, and like Meltzer was saying that if they do that, Vince is going to pull out all the stops and like probably use main roster guys and that kind of thing. So like he's going to it now becomes a case that it's not just like Apollo Crews went back to NXT and Vince would be like, who? I don't care. It's going to be like Seth Rollins might come back to NXT. And Seth Rollins is a man that Vince wants to build the company around. So Vince is going to take a very keen interest in using people who there is a knock-on effect if they lose or are handled badly on this other TV program to the main shows that he really cares about.
That's it, yeah. I mean, you got to imagine that if Vince had his fingers in the pie when it came to that Kushida-Apollo match, Crews would have won.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
Crews is a main roster guy. He can't lose to an NXT guy. And therefore, that match would have played out very, very differently.
The hierarchy, Luke! The hierarchy!
There's a lot of very interesting stuff in The Observer about this. That apparently, despite what AJ said on Raw, there are no plans for the OC to do an invasion of NXT. They're not doing anything like that. There's also apparently no plans to put Balor in the club either. There's no plans are on the table at the moment. And Meltzer's kind of speculating what they're going to do with NXT. If it's still going to remain a 1 hour show. And if it does, then are they going to put their other 1 hour show where they kind of do their sort of wrap up of like WWE news in the second hour as a way to compete against AEW's 2 hours of programming? Or do they extend out to a 2 hour show? Do they inject money into it? Do they take it as a touring brand? Do they just continue to film it in Full Sail? Like it's NXT moving to FS1 isn't just it's now on FS1. It's a whole different thing. Like the production has to be a completely different show.
It's a full restructure of the show.
It really has to be, yeah.
And there's talk that 205 Live might be joining as well.
That's the other side of it. Yeah, well remembered. That apparently they might merge with 205 Live. Which actually someone emailed in on the Saturday show suggesting that they do.
Yeah, they should do. Because 205 Live with NXT's management system, as long as it's not like NXT and then 205 Live.
But how are they going to...
NXT as one brand with all the cruiserweights in it, and that's just another belt on the NXT brand. Yeah. That would be fantastic.
But how will they merge all 11 of them into the whole brand? It's going to be so difficult.
Chaos!
Anyway, Japanese Name says, New Japan Pro Wrestling does a great job of ensuring that their mid-card titles main event at least 3 to 4 shows a year. Could WWE benefit from this strategy for Raw or SmackDown?
Oh, yeah, I mean, it would make them important.
But I feel like they did that, didn't they? That was when the Universal title wasn't on anything.
Yeah, they made the IC
quite
belt
often.
the
Intercontinental belt was quite often main eventing things.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter.
Remember the Seth Rollins, Dolph Ziggler, Extreme Rules, Iron Man match?
7-6
Well,
or something
that's the thing, isn't it? It's like if you're just if the top belt means nothing, then it doesn't matter how much you try and make the other belts mean stuff. Like you have to make all the belts mean stuff at the same time. Otherwise, it's very difficult to have a knockout. Like it's all trickle down from like this is the top prize, and then everything else has to feel important. But it's also the story. Like it has to feel important to the characters in that story.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why would you go for the belt?
Yeah, I agree.
Jackson Bowman says Nyla Rose should only wrestle in the men's division because obvious reasons.
Go get out with that. Absolutely get out with it.
No, Jackson. Japanese name says, out of these 4 wrestlers, who has the worst frog splash and why? Eddie Guerrero, RVD, Montez Ford, or Tanahashi? I feel like he asked one of these last week, like who has the worst super kick?
Yeah. That's the worst one. I'm going to say Eddie.
I always like Eddie, though, because he
Eddie's
always
as
sold it.
Well, Eddie's was great. Like that's the problem. Is you've picked like 4 of the best, and you're trying to pick out which one's the worst. So
I'm just going to say RVD.
I like RVDs.
Yeah, no, I like all of them. I'm just picking one at random.
Yeah, it's fair enough. You're absolutely right. Yeah, I mean, I literally just said the exact same thing to Randy.
Montez Ford.
Yeah, he's too high.
Yeah, no, so his jumps
too
really.
high.
His
RVD is too high.
RVD. Yeah.
We'll do 3 more for now. Flint Mech says, I'm still thinking about the monster pop Pete Dunne got. You'd think the Full Sail crowd just hear glass shatter. It ruled.
I mean, I won't get that far, but yeah, no, it was pretty big.
Yeah, they got out off their seats.
Yeah.
Justin Anzaldua, I really appreciate what you're doing. It's his birthday, by the way.
Oh,
so
lovely. Happy birthday.
But he's donated, and then he's written $10, which is more than he's actually donated. But thank you very much anyway, Justin. We really appreciate it.
Lovely stuff.
And the last one for now is from Zachary Marsh, says, for an American, Pete Dunne is the best wrestler. Doesn't say in the world or anything, just the best wrestler.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's awesome. He's so good. It's just one of those things that I'm not sure he'll ever get a share. Let's try that again. A fair shake of the stick because of his accent. Mm-hmm. He's one of those people that they'll just be like, I can't understand a word he's saying. Like, remember when like Nikki Cross did an episode of Moment of Bliss a couple of weeks ago?
Yeah.
And it was when Bliss was ill, I think. And so Nikki had to go out and do the promos. And she had to say, I know a lot of you struggle with my accent, so I'm going to speak very, very slowly so you can understand me. And I almost feel like that was told to her by Vince. It's like, you better tell people because they can't understand. I can't understand a word you're saying, which means no one else can understand a word you're saying. So you need to go out there, explain that people can't understand you, and speak slowly.
Yeah, or just give them a manager.
Give them a manager.
And then give him a really long run with the Intercontinental title to make it feel important.
I mean, all good ideas. Right, let's move on to the main show. We got a recap of the Cole versus Gargano angle from last week. And then we got our semi-final match for the breakout tournament between Jordan Myles and Angel Garza. So I didn't see Angel Garza's match because that's while I was away. So this is my first opportunity seeing him. Well, he's pretty bloody great, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that was the best first round match was Angel Garza versus whoever DJZ's become.
I thought, what a great character.
Wild.
What a great character he is. Like,
yeah,
he's so
amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Because there's that lad in the Everton shirt who's at every single show. He's also a lot of AEW shows as well. He's the guy, the one who pulled that face at Fyter Fest. But, like, so he's there sort of like, trying to get a high five or a fist bump on him. And he just sort of ignores him and be like, no.
Yeah.
And then walks over to this young lady at ringside and was like, well, hello. And like gives her a little kiss on their hand. I was like, what a brilliant little character beat. To be like, absolutely no, man.
Hello, woman. Hello, lady.
Hello, lady.
It's Val Venus.
It was really, really good. And like Nigel even said that Beth blushed when he came past ringside.
Oh, that was amazing. Like when they got into a really long conversation about his quick change magic act.
Yeah.
And they were saying it wasn't an accident. It's like, of course it wasn't an accident. It wasn't she called it a wardrobe malfunction. She was like, you knew full well it wasn't a wardrobe malfunction. I saw you blush.
You blush. He goes, you blushed. And Beth brilliant goes, Nigel. It's really made me laugh.
Had a lot of fun on that.
I like Beth and Nigel together. I think they're getting some really good stuff. So as much as I am raving about Angel Garza, I am not going to rave about Jordan Myles.
No.
I think his in-ring work is tremendous. I think his smiling gimmick sucks.
Yes, I cannot get on board with Jordan Myles.
Nope.
Don't like the music when he came out.
Nope.
It's unremarkable.
Yep.
The smiling basketball thing, I dislike all of.
Yep.
Because he's doing it even when it doesn't fit the story of the match. And this was my critique of his first match in the tournament as well, was that he was smiling and looking happy, but he was getting beaten down. And it was like, this doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Like, you should be finding another level at some point in this match where you turn it up, and it's not that you're having fun and having a laugh and you go like, oh, spirit of competition. You should be like, okay, well, I'm smiling at the beginning because I like wrestling.
Yeah.
You get beaten a bit, and then you get pissed off.
And
then you come out with this amazing offense. And there was a good moment in this where he just lit Garza up with kicks.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And that was like fired up Myles, but he immediately went back to being like, haha.
Yeah, and don't get me wrong, he's got a lovely smile. A brilliant smile. So's Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
But I don't want Ronda Rousey smiling in like when she's doing her stuff either, because it was an inconsistent character and it made her look a bit like a goofball. Yeah. And I just think it makes him look. I mean, I've written so many times in my notes. God, he's annoying.
It's a fight. As pretend as it might be, it's a fight. Act like it's a fight and not like it's you're just playing basketball. Because that's the difference. It's like a basketball game isn't that serious because you're not getting hurt. And you can have fun and you can dunk on each other and you can like do tricks and it's silly. Don't treat wrestling like it's that same sort of competition. Yeah. It's not. When he's winning, he's hurting you. Yes. Act like it.
Although I will say, at the end of my notes here, I've written deadlift German suplex. He's now my favourite wrestler ever, and he gets the shock pin. Mm-hmm. Because anytime anyone hits a deadlift German, they instantly become one of my favourite wrestlers.
There you go. Easily bought.
Easily bought me. Mm-hmm. And yeah, you got the surprise win. Crowd, I don't think we're ready for the finish. It did feel like that wasn't... It felt a bit flat as a finish to the match.
I think a deadlift German suplex is a not remarkable finisher.
It's pretty impressive, though, isn't it?
They are impressive. They are really impressive, but they don't. A German suplex doesn't feel like like Brock Lesnar's finish isn't the amount of German suplexes he does.
You're very right. It's become so much of a setup move that it's hard to then buy it as an actual finisher.
Exactly.
Yeah. But good stuff. He advances through to the finals and the other semi-final matchup between Cameron Grimes and Jonah Rock. Mm-hmm. I forgot what his name is. They've changed it to now.
Bronson Reed.
Bronson Reed. Thank you very much.
Prisoner.
And that's, I believe, is going to take place next week, and then the finals are going to take place at Toronto.
So I can see Cameron Grimes versus Jordan Myles.
Yeah, I could see
as the most obvious face heel matchup.
Yeah, and Grimes is such a good slimy heel to kind of push through the tournament because he's got that cocky arrogance about him. It's just it works for him very, very well.
I just wish Garza was the one going through.
Me too, man.
He feels like a star. He's got just such an and it's a fairly obvious character. Yeah. But he does it so well, and the quick change thing I love. His offense is really good. He's very athletic. Yeah. The schmoozing, he's got a sort of a weird Zorro vibe about him. It's just very suave and I don't know. It's really cool.
It's like a more refined Alberto Del Rio.
Yes. Yeah.
And Alberto Del Rio was a cracking gimmick. Mm-hmm. In its early days, in its first year, that was an absolutely money gimmick. No pun intended. It was a money gimmick. It was really, really good. And then as the match was coming to an end, or as the match finished and they were sort of doing their celebrations, Shane Thorne grabs Mauro Ranallo's headset and asks why we're debuting 8 new stars when they've already got Shane Thorne here. And I'm like, I thought you were the one that went.
Yeah. Yeah. He was looking jacked, though.
Looking jacked, man.
He's ready for this comeback, but this is the third repackage of Shane Thorne now.
I guess so, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. He's come out as the mighty Shane Thorne, or the kneeling Shane Thorne.
Yeah, but it's also, again, it comes back to that conversation we've had for the last couple of weeks now of we've got too many mid-carders. Yeah. Too many mid-carders with not enough to do.
You've got absolutely you've got too many mid-carders with not enough to do, and you can't just make the story of all of them be,
where's my TV time?
Why am I not being used? Because, that story works in isolation. But this is what Raw and SmackDown are both doing these stories right now. Kevin Owens' whole push at the moment is based on, this is terrible. This thing that we're doing, that we all work on, is rubbish. Why are we doing this? And that's basically, NXT are basically having admin complaints as their storylines. I've been here for ages and I don't get booked for anything. Yeah. It's bad storytelling.
It's not for me either. But Shane Thorne said that he doesn't need a tournament. He's going to break out on his own. Good luck with that. Gargano kind of promo backstage announcing his stipulation, because the gimmick of the night was that Gargano and Cole were unable to announce the stipulations that they'd picked. and Gargano picked a street fight. Fairly plain, but it's,
Yep. So playing off his feud with Ciampa.
That's what my point was going to be, that it's very plain, but in storyline and character-wise, makes complete sense.
And I think it's clever as well, because it is like Johnny was... This was a really weird promo, because Johnny was doing...
You thought he was putting on a voice?
I felt like he was doing a voice. He was like... what was it? He said, like, you can bring some weapons, you can bring your boys... Come round here, we'll have I don't know, he's just doing this weird sort of accent about it.
Yeah.
But I like the fact that this is like fiery Johnny Gargano, and it's like, I want to, even if you bring the Undisputed Era, I'm perfectly happy to take them all on.
Yeah.
And this is, he thinks to prove himself, he has to make himself an underdog.
Yeah. Up next, we had Bianca Belair versus Xia Li. Blair was very strong out the gates and sort of dominated the match. She tries to do the stalling suplex, but Lee got outside to kick, but then Belair hit the KOD and won.
Yeah.
Solid stuff. Nice bit of rebuilding for Bianca, who's taken quite a lot of pinfall losses as of late.
It was a blooming long squash match is what it was.
That's what I was going to say was, this was a squash match that went quite long.
Yeah. Normally you would give the other person a bit more of the match, but it was just Bianca Belair squashing on her for ages. Yeah. Which actually, I do actually think works. In terms of Bianca Belair's character, because there were plenty of times in the match that it felt like she could have gone for a pin, she could have just like won it, and she was just like, no, I'm proving to you that like I can just carry on dishing out punishment until I'm ready to win. Thank you very much. And
to be honest, on a week where the main roster in-ring women's wrestling action was 37 seconds, I'm just very happy to have seen a 2 women's match on this show, even if one of them didn't have a finish.
Yeah.
Well, it did have a finish, but it wasn't like a finish.
It was an angle.
It was an angle, exactly. Killian Dane cut a promo. I love the setting of Killian Dane's promos. Really, really awesome. I think it's one of the things I really like about NXT. Everyone's promos feel so different because they've all got like their own different backdrops. Really, really like this as well.
Him in the projection room.
Exactly, yeah. Watching old footage of like war-torn islands.
Yeah, and then there's some family photos. There's, oh no, gotta skip through those.
That's when we went to Magaluf. Just recapping the angle with Matt Riddle last week, and he said, in his world, talking about his UFC world, he might be the toughest, but in my world, there are no rules, and I cannot wait to show you everything. I cannot wait to bring you to my world. I thought it was just really, really cool stuff. Loving Dane's promos at the moment.
Yeah, he's and it's so refreshing to see him speak.
Yeah.
Like, he's just not said anything in WWE, really, since he debuted. So it's nice to, he's clearly a very good promo, and you should have been using him to do that for years.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We got security camera footage of Jessamyn Duke finishing up a training session when Mia Yim runs in and does the cop from Dexter going, "Surprise, mother effer!"
So dumb.
Which did make me laugh. And just attacked her out of nowhere and slammed her arm to a locker room. And I'm again going like, why won't someone call the police?
Yeah, I know.
She is attacking innocent women for no reason. How is she the babyface?
Yeah. And she was saying, like, remember this face. It's like, well, she saw you. Like, you both work here. So it's not like a random, like, you don't know who I am, but you killed my parents moment. This is it's Mia Yim. You know who Mia Yim is.
This, I think it was Stoke Hathley on Twitter was reposting this, and he was like, I mean, I don't want to be a snitch, but I am going to call the police because I'm a concerned co-worker.
Yeah, that was it. But like I thought this was a really cool, another quite cool segment. It was better than the last one as well, where it was like this is a security.
Felt more real.
This was a security cam, not someone randomly filming GVs of a venue and then being like, oh look, I'm mugging. Like this was actually
stationary.
This was actually like we went back over the footage and found this, and Jessamyn Duke sold this so well. Maybe because it genuinely really hurt, but when she is placed on the floor and then Yim kicks the door of a locker into her arm and shoulder, Duke starts rolling around and screaming, and it felt very real.
Yeah,
it was
totally.
Really good.
It's just the actions of a heel. But I will say that I do...
She's crocodile tears. Heel tactics.
But I do like the story of Mia Yim getting rid of Baszler's cronies so that she can get Baszler one-on-one at TakeOver. So I really do like that story.
Yeah.
I think it's a really cool thing to do.
I think it's a nice way to build the feud as well without doing very long talking segments. And it's like it's when they finally come face to face before Toronto, it's going to feel very meaningful.
That's what I want. I want, like Baszler to come out next week, cutting a promo, pissed off that Yim's been doing this to her, and then Yim just coming out feeling like an absolute boss.
Yeah.
And then them just having this big, wild pull-apart brawl.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be pretty wicked.
Really cool.
Then we got the Pete Dunne segment that we talked about with the Velveteen Dream and Roderick Strong. There was also a promo for a DVD about the 20 years of SmackDown, which kind of like chronicled all the best moments of SmackDown, like Austin blowing up the DX Express, The Rock, promoting the show, and like this is the first episode, John Cena's debut, Brock Lesnar and Big Show breaking the ring, and the Bellas debuting.
Hey.
And I'm like, huh? Is that really one of the greatest moments of SmackDown?
You can look, but you can't touch.
But I want to look, I don't want to touch. I want to see The Rock. Anyway, then we got the Strong doing his promo backstage, and then we got Kacy Catanzaro versus Aop Shirai.
Still not had a full match, Kacy, is she?
Bless her heart.
Bless her heart. She's been there for ages. Do you know what? In 6 months' time, she's going to be. I've been here for 2 years.
I've not
done nothing.
Perfect Kacy impression as well.
Yeah, I want to lose to Punishment Martinez, thank you.
Oh, we'll get to that. But yeah, she was taking on Helio Shirai in her brand new pissed off mode. Love heel Io Shirai.
The whole presentation is so good.
Good. It's great.
I love the lights going black. The music is so cool. The
strobe lights,
lighting, the rapid cut title sequence with just her name in kanji and then her name in,
and her look with like the leather trousers and the black top, and she's got like her hair feels darker, her makeup's darker. She's mouthing off to people as she's walking to the ring. She's got a brilliant attitude about her. Love it. Love the presentation.
I think it's one of the clever things that NXT have done, because their presentation of the last 3 Japanese stars to come through has been like really wacky bubblegum outfits. Like, you've got Kairi Sane is a pirate.
Oh yeah.
Asuka is like wearing. She's like a ragdoll outfit of like it's weird, different mismatched. She's wearing a quilt that your nan made.
She bought various different things off Etsy.
Yeah, and then smushed them together.
Yeah.
Io Shirai's whole mask and it being very colourful, and then just to go down to plain black, even though that's obviously the most obvious heel choice in the world, feels so vastly different because NXT hasn't had a Japanese female star position like that.
Yeah, totally. I think it's such a cool presentation, and when this match starts, literally she like explodes out the corner with this drop kick and just kills her with these 2 knees. Oh, it was amazing. She hit this butterfly backbreaker that looked amazing, and then Candice LeRae ran down and caused the DQ, and she wipes out Io. She does a big dive, then she grabs a chair, standing tall as Io walks off. That was a cool little angle.
Yes, very good. Do you think it would have been better if it was Kairi Sane, though?
100% would have been better if it was Kairi Sane. Like, Kairi would have had such a huge pop for running down to attack her. It would have been... The angle would have made more sense. And it would have had more emotional depth to it. Just a shame that SmackDown had to call her up for all those good reasons that they had.
They had a match in Japan that no one saw, apart from in Japan.
Led to a DQ finish, and I think has now been dropped because the Iconics are feuding with Fire and Desire or something.
Oh my God.
So, they called her up for all the right reasons, I guess, and it robbed us of this storyline. And I love Candice, and I'm glad to see Candice doing something that isn't, what are you doing this week, Johnny?
Yeah, but it again, she's now just being a stand-in for someone else, and it really felt like there must be a time for Candice to have whatever her story is going to be. And her story probably should be what Keith Lee's been saying, what we were just saying Kacy Catanzaro should be saying, is like, she would be the perfect fit for that story because she's got other reasons why, like, she can go, you never gave me the shots, I never got the opportunities, but also I had to deal with this thing and this thing, and people came after my family, and I had to get involved in this side of things. Now it's time for me to focus on me and my career.
Exactly.
And doing this.
I was in the Royal Rumble this year.
Yeah.
Like, clearly people want me.
She would be so well placed to have that storyline. So it does feel very strange to me for now, like, and she is the perfect stand-in for this. Like, she is the only other person I think that could have been in this role. Kacy kind of fits the bill, only in terms of sort of, I think she's quite petite. She's like very happy-go-lucky presentation.
Yeah.
But Candice has the hearts and minds of NXT.
Yeah.
And I think she's the only person that Io could have turned heel on that wasn't Kyrie.
Yeah, no.
So she is in that unfortunate position
standing,
of being like weirdly over despite having done nout.
Yes. I think she's got all the goodwill from her independent run, like running through the Full Sail crowd.
Absolutely, yeah.
That was the other interesting thing, actually, that was brought up about NXT moving to FS1 as a possibility, is that Myles was saying, like, well, where do you put the developmental matches? Because the whole point of NXT TV is it's meant to be for developmental. You're meant to be developing these people so they're then ready for TV. You don't want to put developmental matches out on national TV where people might see it.
And they might go, oh, that's rubbish.
Well, that's a bit rubbish, yeah.
I guess that still stays on the network.
Well, that's what he said. Like, so you film then 2 shows.
Is that an NXT like main event version?
Yeah. Where you just have like the stars and then you put all of the developmental matches on the network.
Yeah.
The whole thing's going to be... the next couple of months are going to be very, very interesting for WWE and NXT.
Yeah.
Now that AEW have officially announced their start date, it's going to be very interesting to see what they do as a retaliation.
Yeah. Maybe just don't retaliate.
I mean, yeah, you could do.
You could just go, well...
But they're trying to take food off our plates!
Yeah, but not if you don't, like, not on a Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have any shows on Wednesday, so apart from NXT on the network, which you didn't care about anyway.
Also, can we just address how dumb of a statement they're trying to take food off our plate is?
Yeah.
Like... when the Attitude Era and when the Monday Night Wars was happening, everyone was making loads of money. Everyone was getting loads of food on their plate because the business was booming.
Yeah.
No one was taking any food off anyone's plate. If anything, AEW doing well is putting more food on his plate.
AEW is just growing WWE, like interest in WWE, because all those lapsed fans who might go back to AEW might go, oh, I remember WWE. And WWE can sit there while AEW is going, we've got Jericho. And then everyone's like, whoa, Jericho, watch a Jericho match on AEW. WWE can just go, Stone Cold's here next week.
Yeah. And like, let's not forget, the Canella side just signed $500,000 contracts. They've got loads of food on their plate now. Like, they're doing fine.
You mock, but Vince went home last night and didn't eat anything because he's just...
He never does. He's a weirdo.
He doesn't want to let the food win. If I eat, then I have to poo.
He's just there, like, just feeding off essence. That's what I think he does. I think he's maybe
an energy vampire.
That's what I was about to say. He's the energy vampire. That's why he is the way he is. He's just an energy vampire.
Yeah, that's it. So is that why the show is the same every week? Because he's feeding off our boredom.
Yeah. Adam Cole cut a promo backstage and his sort of typical, like the 2 sort of camera like cut together stuff. I really like this. He's again pointing out that Roddy has been screwed, but he says it doesn't matter because the Undisputed Era will be draped in gold by the end of Toronto. And he announced the stipulation for his fall in the 2 out of 3 falls match. It's a wrestling match. Mm-hmm. This is brilliant.
Right.
I love this so much because everyone's expecting, you know, a ladder match, a cage match, or whatever match.
Handicap match.
Yeah, exactly. Something like that. It's like, no, I'm going to pick a wrestling match. Yeah. You call yourself Johnny Wrestling. Well, the last time I had wrestling matches, I beat you.
I love serious Adam Cole.
Oh.
I love the fact that I know I was saying earlier, like, it would be good if the Undisputed Era were doing a concerted push. I mean, more just like if Cole was in the corner of Roddy and Fish and O'Reilly separately and being like part of their feud and like really pushing the team forward as the leader. But I really like, on his own, serious Adam Cole. I'm turning up to the ring. No Undisputed Era. I don't need them. I am as good as I say I am.
Yeah. Oh, it's going to be brilliant.
I think it's really interesting because you know that this stipulation is going to go to the 3rd fall.
Oh, yeah.
And so it depends. It's so interesting to think, what does Regal pick? Because could we get Regal heel turn? Regal picks handicap match and gives the Undisputed Era more men.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fantasy booking for you there.
Next week, we had announced Tyler Breeze is going to take on Jackson Riker of the Forgotten Sons. I genuinely forgot what the stable name was for a second there. Irony. And Pete Dunne is going to take on Roderick Strong. Mm-hmm. Yes, please, to both of those matches.
I'm looking forward to talking about this next week.
Oh. I love these little teasers. I love the fact that you know and I don't. Yeah,
I'm really looking forward to talking about it next week.
Do you know what I'm not looking forward to talking about?
No.
This next match.
Oh.
Mate. Keith Lee took on Damien Priest.
Big Damo.
Yeah.
Other Damo.
Other
big other Damo.
Yeah. Big, look, and this really annoys me. I like Punishment Martinez.
Yeah.
I think Punishment Martinez is ace. I think he's great. And I don't want to sit here and talk about how I'm annoyed that he won.
Yeah.
But the match was actually pretty good, actually. There was some really good stuff in this match. The finish sucked.
It's classic booking yourself into a corner.
That's exactly
I think this is
it.
what, like, unless they're going to do a couple of like runbacks on this and then put Keith over. But at the moment, it just feels a bit like, oh, okay, so this is the new guy that you're interested in until the next new guy comes through. Like, I don't see where Damien Priest is going. I don't like, and when Dijak comes back, Keith Lee's in the mix, and you've got whoever else in that sort of mid card of like the mid card of not really doing much. I don't know where like you go with any of these guys, because you've then also got this now crop of breakthrough guys who are going to come through, and they're going to suddenly start getting pushed for things. So why put Priest over
Keith
here?
Lee,
like, why book yourself into that corner where you have to make that choice? Why not do literally just do the Dijak thing again? Just go to a double count out, or it goes so far they call it off because it gets too violent, it gets too whatever. Like,
when they spilled to the outside, I thought, they might do a double DQ here or the double count out, and essentially we'll just replace Dijak with Punishment Martinez, and we'll just call it a day, and we'll just sort of move in this direction instead. Here's my little bit of fantasy booking that I'd like to throw your way, though.
Go on.
So Roddy wins at TakeOver Toronto with the North American Championship, and he's Roddy Strong. He is cool. He's strong, but he's 5'10". He's the same height as me. And then he gets booked into a fatal four-way with Keith Lee, Damien Priest, and Donovan Dijakovic. 3 big monster men, and he's there going like,
super strong.
Exactly. I'm so much smaller than you.
More spinach. Yeah, that would be cool. I didn't get good vibes off this match. Because I'd also seen you watching it earlier, so I already knew the finish.
Goddamn TV. Keep talking.
Yeah, so I had already seen the finish, so I sort of knew the disappointment to come.
Yeah.
But it didn't gel as well as I wanted it to either. I was hoping for the Dijak match again.
That's what I was hoping for.
And it never
as well.
quite reached that level, and then had what I felt was a very flat finish.
The one cool spot of this was Priest hitting the Falcon Arrow.
So cool.
But really, the big spot of this was when Keith Lee rolls to the outside, and Damien, isn't it? Damien Priest does a big flip dive, and Keith Lee catches him into a powerbomb.
Yeah.
And he didn't stagger. He didn't struggle with this.
No,
he just caught this ginormous man and was like, "No, I got you now."
Yeah.
It was really cool.
And it was such a good moment of television as well, because it wasn't just a catch and then move. It was a catch, and he stood there holding him while all the crowd erupted.
Yeah.
And you could just see the look on his face like, no bother.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
It brings him up, but then doesn't get the powerbomb. And I thought that could have been a really good moment for doing something where you start to build this into being a feud between the two of these guys.
Yeah.
Because I think,
and Keith can, and there can be something that comes out of this, because Keith can be pissed off, like when you only won because you pulled the referee phone, because Keith Lee did have the advantage, because Priest rolls into the ring scared of Keith Lee that he's going to hurt him, so essentially pulls the referee in front of him and then uses the referee as a human shield, hits the cyclone kick and the crossroads for the win. So Keith does have legs to stand and be like, look,
let's have another match.
Let's have another match. A no referee match or whatever it is you want to do.
Yeah.
Because
no touching.
Because you effectively cheated to win.
Yes.
So there are, foundations to build this from. It just kind of sucks that we've had the last couple of weeks of Keith Lee being like, I've been here for a year and I've done nothing. He finally returns to TV and he loses.
Yeah, there must be people to put him against that would be a showcase for Keith Lee, but that would also not be hurt too much by Keith going over.
Yeah.
I get, and you do want it to be someone the size of Martinez. Like, you do want it to be someone of Priest's size, but I get that they've in their heads they're building Priest.
Yeah.
What I did like about this finish, though, is that this is the first bit of character we've seen of Priest, really, beyond bows and arrows. This is actually like a proper. We now know if he's a face or a heel.
Yeah, that's true.
We didn't really know that before. You just assume by his look that he's a heel, and now we understand that he will go to any lengths to win. Yeah,
absolutely. And that is a positive to take away from this completely. And I know that there'll be people in the comments being like, "You're only saying this because Keith Lee likes you guys," but actually, I just think it's not the best storytelling. I think there's something that can come from it. Just kind of sucks, as I said, for like 2 weeks worth of promos to bring him back to TV. And like my first note was, God, it's good to see Li back on NXT TV.
Well, I think
and the crowd are so into it as well.
That's what I mean. It's like it's the wasting of someone who's so over and obviously so talented. And I think we're very on the train of Keith Lee anyway, but we were super on the train after seeing the Dijak match, and it was such a shame that never got to come to fruition because of the injury. And now then he has to disappear and be part of the Matt Riddle stuff, and it sort of devalues him slightly. And then to do stuff where you start to rebuild someone with promos and packages, and they were really good and well done, and made it seem like something was about to happen, and then to sort of immediately halt that.
Yeah.
Because even if this does spill out into a bigger feud and part of rebuilding Keith Lee, at the moment it just feels a bit flat.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping they pay it off properly, and there's definitely the possibility to do that. But currently it just feels a bit like it was booked into a corner. So hopefully there's more coming out of it, but at the moment, poor choice to go, we're rebuilding Keith Lee and we're also building him, so let's just put a match on between the two of them.
Yeah, you book yourself into a corner, you can't come up with a good finish. And that's, they made the rod for their own back. It's difficult to get yourself out of that. Overall, I thought it was a good show. It was fine. I thought that the bit with Pete Dunne was great, and I love the Io Shirai stuff. And the rest of the show was pretty so-so. I thought it was okay.
Yeah, it was okay.
It was okay.
It wasn't quite... Still not lit that fire just yet under Toronto that I'm waiting for. I'm waiting for that to suddenly feel like this is a really important show that's happening very, very soon. It feels like everyone's talking about it, but it's still very far away.
It's a show that has got such a good card on paper that you're going to be excited for it anyway, because all the matches are so good. But I'd like to see some real story heading into, because the Cole Gargano stuff has got great stuff going on with it at the moment. But yeah, I thought I'd like to see some real fire lit out of some of these feuds, like the Street Profits Undisputed Era feud doesn't particularly feel very hot at the moment. No. The inclusion of Pete Dunne has kind of made the North American match feel a bit good, feel a bit more alive, and the women's match has got something, but I'm kind of waiting for that Shayna Baszler promo to kind of really kickstart it. Yeah. So I think there is, next week I'm very excited to hear, particularly after you're excited to see what's going to happen. So yeah, I'm looking forward to next week, but then I'm always looking forward to watching NXT.
Yeah, it is a top quality show
until Wednesday, October 2nd.
Yeah, when it's a 2-hour.
I don't know what
green screen affair.
I honestly don't know what we're going to do. I think we really. I don't know what we're doing yet.
No,
it's going to be one of those things I keep thinking, man, me and Ollie need to sit down and work out how we're going to do this, because SmackDown's moving to Fridays. I don't know what we're going to do with that.
But then NXT and AEW.
That's it. Yeah. Do we do 2 rambles? What do we do? I don't know what to do. Randy Andy Datson, what's happening up in the chat?
Fine, I'll do it all. Nice shirt, by the way, Laurie. I was just noticing that it's a really nice T-shirt you're wearing there.
Yeah. Just something I knocked together myself.
What's that logo? Is that a...
It's something I support.
All right, nice. And well done earlier on your praise of Io Shirai, because it brought out all the unusual people from our chat. So well done there. And Jason Aaron says, the audience member in the front row in the yellow shirt makes me love NXT even more, from his Garza stuff to his swooning fanning himself.
That was when Dream came out. That was really good. I think his name's Kyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that, because when I posted up the picture of him from Fyter Fest, and someone tagged him in it and he replied to it. And that was, I was like, oh, cool, your name is Kyle, now I know.
Awesome.
Who dis?
Fixture.
Yeah, we then just had a little bit of a chat about Everton.
Who dis says, lovely time with the boys.
Lovely time with the boys.
It really is. Deraya says, Andy pressured me to donate. Not technically true. He said,
Andy!
This is my first super chat. This is my first live stream. Should I super chat? And I said, I would. And then he did. So, thank you anyway.
Andy Datson.
I know.
Tisk.
I'm the worst. Great name here.
It.
Foreskin Max says, predictions for Dream's entrance at TakeOver.
Hulk Hogan inspired.
Yeah.
Well, it's in Toronto, so maybe on a moose.
No, yeah, it might be like a Bret Hart thing.
held aloft by hockey sticks.
Oh, I like it, yeah.
He could skate to the ring.
Like an Egyptian prince, but with hockey sticks.
Comes down as the Goon. Which was a gimmick that was originally penciled for Chris Jericho, fun fact.
Nice. King Kong, thank you very much for your donation.
Thank you very much.
Taking time out of your schedule. Ryan B. Bad says, I think the third fall in the title match should either be a last man standing match or a ladder match. I'm pretty sure it'll be last man standing.
Yeah, last man standing makes sense. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense.
Regal will come out and go,
I just love these. I love counting. 1, 2.
I won't do.
Reminds me of Blackpool.
Zachary Marsh says, how would you make NXT UK important and must see?
Sorry, I missed that. We were talking about 2P machines.
Zachary Marsh says, how would you make NXT UK important and must see? I would say to make it better than the rest of the UK independent scene.
Yeah, I mean, granted, in fairness, the UK scene is on a bit of a downturn at the moment anyway in terms of popularity. You know, which is thanks in part to the NXT UK, but it's I just don't think there's enough. Like, they are promoting a show that's going to be headlined by Walter and Tyler Bate, which last year at Progress sold out Wembley.
It was
arena,
and it was an unbelievable match. Like,
so good.
It was. I think it was our second favourite match when we did our WrestleTalk Top 10.
It's my favourite match I've ever seen live.
And it was, absolutely. It's certainly my top 5, probably my top 3 matches I've ever seen live. It was stunning, and that match is struggling to sell tickets for NXT UK Cardiff. That is going to be a very, very. They're going to do so much tarping off to make that place look full. That shouldn't be the case, but they have presented it as not even the fourth brand. It's there. Grant, so to answer the question of what would you do to make it feel important, I wouldn't have started it for cynical reasons. I would have done it because you thought it was something that needed to be done.
Yeah, it's just toiling in obscurity, and it's progress with all the personality sucked out of it.
Yeah,
so it's just, and that's the problem. It's just it feels like a very neutered version of what brands itself as punk rock pro wrestling.
Jim Smallman spoke he is a punk rock guy. Progress was punk rock wrestling.
Yeah.
But NXT UK is Blink 182. It's commercialized pop punk.
Yeah, but
and it's not as good.
But it's the WWE. It's the WWE model of having suited and booted general managers and famous faces and all that kind of stuff. When they should have just put Smallman on the telly and just gone, you know what, we're just
do Progress.
We're doing it like Progress, and just don't do the swearing bit, but do all the catchphrases, do all that fun stuff, make it feel like your show. And then the only bit of WWE they need to take is a bit more of the character presentation stuff that WWE is very good at, and NXT specifically is very good at. Adam Cole's of the world cutting their promos and stuff, because that's, I think, the one area where the NXT UK brand is probably lacking.
Yeah.
Like we were saying about Pete Dunne earlier, it's he's probably not going to be the champion on the main roster in the way we want him to be because of his accent.
Yeah.
So it would be good to think around that.
Yeah,
Ship some American guys over there to be people's managers. Whatever you need to do. Do more promo classes. I don't know what it is, and I'm sure everyone's got it in them, but the way you're working it out at the moment isn't working.
I think with the Progress thing kind of makes a lot of sense of why don't you just take Progress and put it on there. But I think there would have been some backlash from that hardcore Progress audience that don't want to be associated with WWE.
Yeah, well,
they want to be their punk rock alternative.
Yeah, you don't want to work for a man.
No.
Angel Perez says, Dunne is why Strong could win the title at TakeOver.
Could be, yeah. I think Strong's going to win.
Yeah. Naters WP says, Luke, your smile and laugh are so infectious.
Oh, thanks, man.
I won't even understand the joke, but you laughing makes me laugh.
Thanks,
Laurie,
man.
I'm your number one fan. Randy, you're okay. Just kidding. All of you guys are amazing.
Thanks, man. It's very, very kind of you to say.
Thank
Two
you,
truths and a lie.
JC says, love the channel. You guys make the wrestling community go around. Love from Chicago.
Oh, well, thank you very much. Hope you're going. Are you going to All Out?
Yeah.
Don't leave another super chat. Just tell Randy in the main chat. But yeah,
do that.
Let us know if you're going to All Out.
Steve Wynyard says, is Vince about to ruin NXT?
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, it's a case of time will tell.
Yeah, and it's one of those things that if he's ruling the NXT, it might mean that Raw and SmackDown have a bit less oversight from him, so they might get better.
Yeah,
you never know. Swings and roundabouts.
Swings and roundabouts.
Benny Sato, who is Tomo's #1 fan, says #Justice for Datsun.
Cheers, Benny.
Yeah.
Nice guy, Benny Sato. He's really nice.
He's a very nice chap. I was talking to him earlier on Discord.
On the All Out thing, thank you to everyone. Conrad Thompson put up a tweet asking, there's one last podcast slot available at StarCast, and he said, tag in your favourite podcast. So I'd just like to thank everyone that tagged us. It was very, very nice of you.
Nate Dropped Surname says, New Day keeps all the belts. UE wins all the belts. Who else would you add to New Day for a War Games match between the two factions?
I don't want to add anyone to New Day. That just ruins their dynamic.
Kevin
Even
Owens.
for like a one-off?
No. I mean, maybe it's a one-off, but
Byron
then...
Saxton.
I just think like adding someone in would just sort of dilute what's fun about the New Day. Yeah.
I won't tell you who this is from. Luke, you've got to guess. He says, guess who turns
Breeze.
9... Guess who
Breeze would have been
turns...
good in the New Day.
Oh, yeah. But actually, that actually makes a lot more sense. Yeah. Sorry.
Guess who turns 19 today? It's one of your favourites, Luke. Who could it be?
Is it Jaron Walker?
No.
Raven?
No.
Raven.
Turns 19.
Is it the Ghostbusters?
It's Xander
Sonic the Hedgehog.
It's Xandermania turns
Xandermania
19
wild.
today. Yeah, so happy birthday,
Birthday.
Ghostbusters.
Justin Duncan says, Era should win all the gold and defend it in War Games.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still pulling for Undisputed Era Club War Games.
Oh, man.
It's so good, but it's likely not going to happen. But
No, because they won't want to put a main roster team.
Cool. That would be so cool.
Because they couldn't if it was going to be for all the titles, then they couldn't have a main roster
doesn't have to be
team
for
win
all the
it.
titles.
They could have a main roster team win it. Because it's going to go on. It's going to be on the telly, so
Yeah,
it's fine. You just do that, and you just do a till the next pay-per-view run with it.
Yeah.
Tanmesh Shah, thank you for your donation.
Thank you.
Ali G, thank you.
The Ali G?
It must be because it says Ali G. Yeah.
B8 Tourette's. It's so nice working for a company where there are two people that when I say the words B8 Touret's, you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know what I'm on about.
You know what I'm saying.
Because I had to explain that joke to my wife. She was like, never say that again.
B8 Tourette's.
B8 Tourette's.
Apparently,
and she doesn't like Fleetwood Mac.
Apparently, Xia Li's Instagram is fire. There you go.
Cool. Thanks for knowing. I don't know what an Instagram is.
Mr. Doback says, I hear it's hot in England. I'm used to it. I'm in Australia. Ha.
Well, yeah, I mean, we was actually saying on the podcast that it is currently the same temperature as Las Vegas, and that's the desert.
It is about 40 degrees, probably hotter in the sun here.
Yeah.
So that's
It's hotter
Celsius,
than the sun.
which is about 95 maybe Fahrenheit. I don't know.
It's a made-up term to measure heat.
It really is. And
I'll
Use
combust
Celsius.
like a vampire if I go outside.
Kvenjik, thank you for your donation. Benny
Baron.
Sato says Shinsuke Nakamura debuting on SmackDown was fantastic.
Was it? I don't remember it, to be honest.
That was out of the blue, but thank you for
don't remember that.
I don't remember
Benny.
it. I think it was after WrestleMania, but I don't really remember what it was.
Ralph Marion says, when AEW debuts on October 2nd, do you think NXT will have a big match that week to help people keep watching their product?
If it's debuting on the same night, absolutely they will. Bearing in mind, when Impact went on a Monday, it was the first time they went to a Monday to go head-to-head with Raw, they brought back Bret Hart to have him and Shawn Michaels hug each other in the ring. Like, they will go to lengths to get people to not watch other
It's
wrestling
one of those
products.
things. It's like because sometimes their lengths are a bit lame. Like Raw Reunion, I think, is a bit of a lame example of it. It's just like we're just going to do a load of not wrestling sections. It's like no, like if you said Stone Cold's coming back to the ring, I'd be like, okay, Stone Cold coming out and lamely drinking some beers, heavily edited beers. Not interested.
But to USA's credit, and USA Network's credit, not the country, USA Network's credit, it was the highest rated Raw of the year.
True. No, and I think that's the thing. They do understand that is the pulling power of it. But I think when you've got an actual competitor on television, maybe you have to do more.
I could see them going the route of calling it like an NXT Homecoming and having Balor, Nakamura, Owens, Zayn, having
No
all
Way
of the,
Jose.
No Way Jose, your big stars going back to NXT, like Bayley, Charlotte Flair. Maybe you advertise that as the return of Sasha Banks, like she's going to return to fight for the women's championship.
Survivor Series
So
for NXT.
So have
old
none
crop
of
versus new crop, or like when football clubs do like old boys versus new boys. Yeah.
have none of the actual NXT stars on the show, or
Well,
like
no, it's
against
like you have them facing them.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. To like try and put them over and like create some new stars. But you advertise it's like a big homecoming thing.
That'd be amazing.
On our earlier point, this is now the hottest ever day in July in the UK in history.
There you go.
It's
Hottest day ever.
It's about 100.
I love it.
I can't stand it.
Love it, mate. More like this, please.
Juan de Dios Infante says food. Says food for your plates.
I don't want it like that. Sorry.
Food for your plates, he says, which is from his donation, so he's giving us food for our
I
plates.
see. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yes, I need it.
I will eat well. I had a lovely chicken, big air quotes for podcast listeners, tikka masala for lunch then. It was genuinely delightful.
Good.
On
Tomo.
the hottest day of the year, on the
yeah.
hottest day ever in July, I'll have a tikka masala.
Oh, yes,
Thank
please, mate.
you.
Tomo says,
Tomo.
I honestly prefer Martinez over Lee, but that's just me.
Tomo, you're fired.
Yeah.
Heel.
As at least he said it's just him.
Yeah.
So, like, it's literally just him.
So he's admitting that he's wrong.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And finally, Tim Arndt has a very generous donation, but no message. So thank you to
Thank you,
everyone.
Tim.
Thank you so much, everyone. We actually don't have any Patreon backers to plug either because we've done all of our shout-outs for this month. Head on over to patreon.com/WrestleTalk to get involved with that, though. Maybe get your name shouted out on the WrestleRamble show. But I will give it a little shout-out to the WrestleRamble Extra that we put up this week where Ollie and I reviewed Invasion for over 3 hours. We went into in-depth about the WWF versus WCW quote-unquote war that they had with Sean Stasiak and Meat and you know, Mark Jindrak, all the big stars from WCW. Hugh Morris, loads of the top names from WCW. Yeah. And, you know, it's a crap show. But we had a lot of fun talking about it. There's clips of it up on our Twitter feed and everything, so go check those out. And on a Monday, we're going to be recording Ramble Club.
Oh.
And Ramble Club, last month's Ramble Club, was called one of the best things we've ever recorded. And according to my wife, unlistenable at times. So it was basically
Woody Woodpecker.
It was us getting quite drunk, drinking a Peruvian spirit. And it was delightful. It was a great time had by all.
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was at the end of it because I edited it and posted it on the same day. I couldn't remember half the things that we talked about. Like I tried to do like a bullet list of what the things that we covered in the show. I was like, I don't remember.
No idea.
No idea. But go check that out. It was a lot of fun. But thank you so much for watching. And if you're watching this on catch up, please do click the videos that have just appeared on the desk to catch up with the latest Wrestle Talk, awesome things, and head on over to Screenstalker, where Laurie and I are going to be doing this show today, talking about loot box controversies. I have been Luke Cohen. This has been our fake doll Laurie Blake. That was Randy Andy Datson in a lovely shirt, and that we're wrestling. Dun dun dun.